Hello and welcome to Maximal Fire. I'm Alex.
And I'm Johnny.
And this is our Liber Strategia review. Good evening, Johnny. How have you been since last time?
A good evening, Alex. I have been very, very good. How are you doing?
I am very good. Quite excited. All over. It's been an interesting few weeks. We purposefully held off on this one because we knew that this book was coming. We just didn't know exactly when it was going to come, and we wanted this to be our first episode, or rather get this episode out as soon as we could, close to the release of the new book, the new Liber Strategia, the new expansion, the new rebalancing Legions Imperialis 1.5, whatever you want to call it.
The paywalled FAQ.
The paywall, yeah. This could have been fixed with a free FAQ, but instead,
I'm happy for it. I don't mind. I'm just happy that there is. We've got something.
Yeah, we've got something. There is a lot going on in this book. We thought in this episode, like we could go through everything line by line, but it would be pretty boring, very, very long. So what we're going to do today is we're going to review the book. We're going to talk about some of our favorite changes, some of the big winners, who we think are some of the losers, who are kind of like not benefiting from this change. But if you want a proper detailed breakdown of kind of everything that's changing, then head on over to our website, which is maximalfire.com. And in there, you will find 3 articles by our resident author, Rick, who posts on our blog. We have a blog, don't you know? I know, we don't talk about it as much as we should, but Rick, we should, yeah. Rick in particular is posting there often. And if you're on Facebook, you'll see these posts sort of trickle down. But trickle down? Trickle down? Yeah, so trickle down, like really slowly. But he's done loads, and he's done quite a lot on Legions Imperialis, to be fair, like his Foundations for Field Marshals series of articles. So if you like reading a blog, head on over to our website. You can have a look at the articles section. There will be links to his latest, I think he's done 3, so he's broken them out between Legions, Astartes, Solar Auxilia, and Mechanicum stuff.
Everything else.
So everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, please do take a look at that. I'm sure Rick would love it, knowing that loads of people are reading his articles. But that's where the detail will be. We're just going to freestyle it and vibe the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can
standard.
Get down with that.
If you've come here for like well thought out analysis, then you should know by now that this is this is pure vibes all the time. We didn't get sent a review copy of this, can't surprise, but we have worked really, really hard. We do have a copy. We managed to get our hands on the book, which has kind of given us enough time to pull our thoughts together and let you know our opinion. I think it's going to be a late night for me tonight as I try and get this out in time for release day. But yes, there you have it. And as always, please do leave your comments in the comments section. Let us know your opinions on what you think the biggest winners and the biggest losers are as well. On the subject of general video interaction, we are 25 subscribers away from 3,000. So there is guaranteed going to be at least 25 of you who are watching this video now who have not hit the subscribe button. Tick us over into that 3K area. More than 25 would be great. Let's get us well into the 3Ks so we can kind of continue hitting these milestones, which is great because I think we spoke about this at the start of the year, saying it'd be great if we could hit this by the end of the summer, and we've pretty much done that. So thank you to everybody who does like and subscribe. Does massively help kind of with the reach of the channel and getting people to know about what we do and the events that we support and all of that kind of stuff. So Thank you very much. Also, a few shout outs as always for our new patrons. So we got Justine, Hunter Callahan, and Lee Thomas who've joined us on Patreon, and we've also got Zach Gregory and Aditya M, who are our latest YouTube members. And I imagine that they've joined because we did drop another video only a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a different new sphere this time around.
A long-awaited and long-requested new sphere.
Yes,
a little bit more serious, I guess, than our usual newsphere, which is somehow even more unscripted and
more vibey,
untethered, and more vibey than our current videos. This one was a little bit more. We were good. We did a lot of reading and analyzing, and we had a look at the support formations for Mechanicum.
Yes. So something our patrons have been asking about for a long time was our kind of thoughts on the support formations. So we thought that we would do a deep dive into that, especially for our members. So if you are interested in support formations, then you can join our Patreon, or you can join our YouTube members. And that video is available to anybody who's on YouTube members, but anybody on Patreon who subscribes at the Princeps tier or higher. So yeah. Good chat.
It was a good chat.
It was a good chat, yeah.
It was a good
we
chat.
Sound surprised. No, yeah, I think because neither of us have really used support formations before. And yeah, I think there was a few surprises in there. I may have even convinced you that you might need to pick up some normal robots for your spider bots.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, well, it depends. There are maybe some bits in this book that also might convince me to sort out a couple of things for my spider bots as well. So
maybe.
But yes, no, it was a good episode. It was good to kind of get into it and cover something that people have been asking for a while as well. So even if it was a good few months late, and then after their release,
for sure. Yeah, maybe after this book, we might persuade you to go back and have a look at your word bearers again.
I could be tempted. Games Workshop, pack it in. Come on, let's get those demons out. You've done it for 30k as of today. So come on, let's see them in Legions, please. I beg you. Or cultists.
Cultists, yeah. I mean, let's as we keep talking, demons. Where's the demons at? You know, there's a lot of naysaying. Is this the end? Is this packaging everything up neatly so they can quietly shelve Legions Imperialis? I don't believe that. There's a lot of kind of clickbaity stuff out there saying that this is the death. I think they've obviously put a significant amount of work into this to balance everything that's come out over the last sort of 18 months, nearly 2 years. And I would like to think that this is an investment in the future for Legions Imperialis.
Well, at least with this book as well, you know, we've got a rule that may indicate at least some future models. And
I'm trying to think about which one you're
what
referring
it
to.
is going to be the Imperial Fists.
Specifically
referencing heavy bolters.
Well, they've. I know some people pick that out as being like a new thing, but if you remember, actually, the Night Lords were heavy bolters. The Night Lords,
yeah,
right.
So actually, they're talking about Night Lords and that rule within the Imperial Fists.
So I think anybody with some common sense realised that was a typo, and that the heavy bolters has always been part of the Imperial Fist special rule. But there's tons of stuff on there for Imperial Fists which doesn't get any love at the moment. I think it's las cannons, plasma cannons. They talk about infantry with plasma cannons. Got none of those. Heavy bolters is another one. I think there's certainly the thing everyone's been. I've been desperate for is where is the next infantry box? I think we spoke about this in a previous episode. We need some breaches. We need some different Devastator options. Maybe even I don't know if you would have specific models for destroyers or anything, but there's loads of stuff. The spoilers, that would be great with some Land Raiders, something like that, where you
just
can have
a variety.
Close combat squad.
Infantry seem more interesting than just man with bolter, man with plasma gun. Yeah. So, and also different armor types as well. If you could do it, GW, please, pretty please. Mark III or Mark II.
I think that's. I still maintain that I think that that's what they'll do with the next box. That's where you won't get Mark VI breaches, will you?
No, you get Mark III breaches, Mark III destroyers, because destroyers usually are in that kind of armor, if I remember rightly. And I love.
It makes sense.
I like beakies, but also there's something the like baroque vibe of the older armor class, especially for some of the more gnarly legions, is too cool, right?
Heresy dictates legions and vice versa to some extent, right? You know, we've seen the models which were in Heresy come into Legions Imperialis, and the models which were in Legions Imperialis often go back into Heresy. So, you know, they've got the 3D designs now for all of this Mark II stuff, and they've got plastic breaches and all of that sort of stuff on the way. So it makes sense that they would scale all of that down, along with the new, I forget the name of, we don't have an anti-infantry sentry, do we yet? We don't have an anti-infantry tarantula. So that new automated platform for Heresy 3.0, potentially something else. Glaives, falchions, all of that, which still hasn't come, which I think we expected to be in here, which still hasn't materialized yet. But who knows? We might. It's Nova Open, isn't it? This weekend.
True. Was that not last weekend?
Or was that last weekend?
I think that was last weekend because a load of Infinity previews.
Bollocks. Okay, that goes straight out the window then. I was hoping there might be some more previews on the way, but like, you know, it's been school summer holidays the last 6 weeks, so I've been in this bubble of child minding and not really doing much else.
Yeah, it was last weekend.
So we would have had something by now. But who knows? We might see something else. We might see... When's Warhammer? Oh no, Warhammer Day is not... That's later as well, isn't it?
Is it this year or will it be early next year? I don't know. Get them mixed up.
There must be one other date in the calendar where they're planning on doing a...
Or it could just be like a fucking Wednesday. I don't care. Just do it. Just show us.
Heresy Thursday, yeah. Anyway, book. So pre-order day came and went. We've picked up some of our books. I must admit that the new card options was a little bit spicy. Obviously we knew that we'd end up paying for new cards. You don't have to pay out for new cards, right? We just did it because, like, we almost feel obliged, like we have to.
Yeah.
Just so we've got something to review. But there are apps like New Recruit where you can download entire army lists with everything that you need on those instead. In fact, that's exactly what you did, wasn't it, at the Corsair Gambit event for your Spider Mechs, and it looked great. But it was like, what was it, 23 quid or something per pack of cards. And I ordered 5 decks of cards. It's like £115 on cards for me and you. Obviously not for myself. Like, I bought Johnny's as well. But yeah, so you've got some Astartes ones coming. You've got some mech ones coming, and I've got everything else because I stupidly have now every other army. So naturally need every other army.
Of course.
So yeah, those I've got 2 boxes of Whirlwinds sat behind me, ready to go. I've got some Mastodons, got some Cerberus, and I think I left it at that. I didn't pick up any of the Vindicators because I wasn't entirely sold on what they would be like.
No.
And I didn't pick up any Typhons, but I'm getting itchy feet to pick up some Typhons after seeing them in the book.
Yeah.
-3 AP against anything. Feels pretty good.
Pretty spicy.
It's just a little bit close range, that's all. But I'm sure that I'm not sure that that's enough for me to not warrant adding some. Try and justify. Like, it doesn't feel very Imperial Fistsy. That feels very Iron Warriorsy. Like, that's why I've not picked them up. Like, all of this siegey stuff. No, I build the walls. I don't tear them down. Yeah, it was an expensive pre-order day, made even more expensive because I got word of the new White Scars formation, which we will talk about a little bit later on. So naturally went out and bought everything that I needed to do that formation. And sadly,
more bikes,
bikes, infantry, sabers, rhinos. It's 6 box worth of stuff. I worked it out. It's like 180 quid to do the iconic formation if you don't have anything already for it. So yeah, I think these iconic formations look pretty nice, pretty good. Definitely a way for Games Workshop to kind of get you to buy certain things, multiple boxes of things. It's a good sales tactic, GW.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it, even if my wallet doesn't. But yes, so that came and went. Got the book in front of me. It is all killer, no filler. Like, you open the book and you're straight into the army lists. That was the thing which kind of surprised me the most about it. There's none of the back, the lore, which, we're so used to seeing in these books. No missions. So if you were worried that any of your other books would become irrelevant, I would say actually, no, it's just the army lists are no longer relevant, but all of the deployment maps, all of the information on different campaigns that you can run, like all the flashpoint scenarios, all the lore, that's all entirely relevant, and you're still going to have use of that. The big advantages for people like me and you when we're running events is now we only need to pick up one book, well, 2, including the rule book, technically, to take to the event. And the other lovely thing about it is there is a nice big section at the back which has like pages and pages of reference.
Excellent.
Look at that.
This kind of game needs it as well. They were very aware. I think they've taken, obviously we're going to be going through this, but they've taken a lot of community feedback. And I think one of the big things is that the kind of disparity of profiles and stuff just means, especially if you've not got cards or you're not utilizing any apps, it definitely would be a page flipper, but having all of that kind of, easily accessible, is very nice.
Sure. And you've got all the weapon profiles in there. You've got all of the detachment profiles as well. So like if you want to see what your opponent's detachment is, you can quickly just flick to the back and just work out what it is if you're not familiar with their list. So that's a really nice addition. It is a chunky book. I don't think it's quite as big as the rule book, but it's not far off. And it has everything in here. It has all of the rules for Astartes, Solar Auxilia, Mechanicum, Dark Mechanicum, Titans, and Knights. So it really is a one-stop shop for anything list building. And it's also, of course, thank God that they remembered to do this. They've incorporated the FAQ. So
hallelujah.
Like, we've seen this a couple of times in like the AT world where like certain things get missed in the new publications, which were, put in by a previous FAQ. So it's great to see that obviously the FAQ was, I reckon, driven by this rather than this being driven by the FAQ. So that's
as of this time, it is fully up to date.
As of right now.
As of right now,
have this conversation again. Yeah, have this conversation
a year in the future.
Time. 2 months might be a bit optimistic. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. That would mean that we're getting frequent FAQs, and I would frankly take that over moaning about my list have changed again.
Yeah.
The 40k problem. Like, I wish that was a problem that we have to deal with sometimes. Yeah. Maybe not quite the frequency that 40k gets it, because my old adult brain cannot handle that kind of shit. But yeah, some big winners in this, some big losers. So we thought we'd cherry pick some of the things that stuck out to us most, and there is a lot. If you are kind of like wondering whether or not your unit has changed, there is a good chance that yes, it has, because it's definitely more the exception than the rule that you will see things that haven't changed at all. There is handfuls of units which haven't undergone some kind of tweak or change or update. Some of them are sensible, some of them are points balancing, some of them are, I don't know, like directly kind of, they've seen where the meta's gone and they've thought, maybe we need to kind of like do something about this to address it. Or maybe it's just because those particular boxes aren't selling particularly well. So let's make them good.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that's a symptom of the same thing, right? If something's not too great.
Yeah,
but
sure.
No, it feels good. It feels good. It does definitely feel like they've been at least taking some community feedback into this.
I think that it's been massively beneficial that they've run a couple of events now, and they've been able to see this stuff firsthand and how people are using these army lists. I've already kind of like seen these chats on Facebook, and we're kind of going, okay, can I get 10 Mastodons in my Alpha Legion list? Yes, I can. That would only be 1,300 points for 10 Mastodons.
Some people are way too preoccupied if they whether they could and not if they should.
Yeah, all right, Ian Malcolm.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into like deep dive into the new units here or the new formations. We're going to save that for the next episode. So if you are expecting us to go kind of line by line through the new vehicles and things, we won't be doing that today. We will do that soon. We will naturally talk about the new units. I think in particular, if they kind of like are potential new hotness or not, right? But we will save all of that for when we've got time to like properly just look into just the new stuff. But there's so much to unpackage here that this is why we're taking a bit more of a broader stance.
Yeah, the stuff that sticks out to us the most really from this. And also we've got I was about to say we've got an event coming up, but no, that's Titanicus. Yeah. No. Okay. No,
yeah, we have an 80 tournament on the 27th of September. We still do have a handful of tickets left if you can make that weekend. So yeah, take a look on Eventbrite. But let's start with some of the biggest losers. I think the biggest loser right now is you and me, Johnny, because we are the guys who have bought every book and every pack of cards up to this date, right? So financially, we're at a loss right now because
I have 2 packs of unopened cards next to me that they've literally not been opened.
Yeah. And I think one of them I was going to like get off.
You were going to take,
the Solar Ox ones, and I was just like,
and you were like, no, I don't want any more.
Don't worry about that. Yeah. But yeah, obviously, if you have bought into it, it is a little bit annoying when you've spent a load of money on cards and a load of money on books, and then 18 months later they are completely pointless. I think that this is the card trap that Games Workshop kind of has with their models. We see it with things like Kill Team as well, where you buy the deck of cards to go with your Kill Team, but then they're very quickly FAQ'd and changed. So I think it's more of a kind of collector thing. I'm hoping now with the issue of these new cards that this should be it for a little bit. And okay, like we spent maybe £5 more per deck of cards on these new decks, but they contain everything. So they are considerably cheaper than if you went and bought each individual deck of cards. Some of the biggest losers, unfortunately, will be the people who went out and bought into this game right before they announced what was coming out. And if you're one of those people, I really feel sorry for you, especially if you bought into the cards, because out of all of them, like these are the things which I think are now completely, they're the only things which are completely useless. As we said kind of before, right? The books still have some use if you want the fluff, if you want the narrative side of things. Which, why wouldn't you? This is the perfect kind of narrative gaming platform or a campaign. That's a reason to go out and buy some of those books. assuming that in a few months' time they don't release the equivalent of a campaign compendium like they did for Adeptus Titanicus, which I wouldn't put it past them. So
I wouldn't complain.
I wouldn't complain either. I would, if you're thinking about it, I would try and pick up some secondhand books off eBay for people who are wanting to get rid of their stuff now, because I seriously think that it won't be long before we see something like that coming in to bring everything else into one book as well, because that seems to be like a model that happens. So don't go rushing out to rebuy the books if you are looking for campaign stuff. I'm sure they will be available on eBay for people who are looking to offload for relatively not a lot of money. Next, I think you're a big loser, Johnny.
Oh, wow. Ouch. Go on.
Yeah, moving on. No.
Oh, was that it? Oh, okay. Right. This is the final episode of the Maximal Fire podcast.
This is how we announce it.
This is
Dark Mechanicum.
Yes.
And not because they have really lost anything, but just because they
got almost nothing. The Terror Assault, actually, I do kind of like this one. Terror Assault, you can now also take a Warhound, which you couldn't before, and you get another unit of Arax Butchers as well, which I am a big fan of, because those are literally the best models in the Dark Mechanicum. You can quote me on that. I will fight anyone that says that.
But overall, though, when we say they're losers, they were in a good state before.
Yeah.
Nothing much has changed this time round. Mm-hmm. There's a few points tweaks. There's, like you say, changes to the formations. But we haven't seen big sweeping updates to their unit profiles or their points values. But then they were the last ones in. So I'd like to, and we not to a lesser extent, we kind of see it with the Mechanicum, where I think they probably had got the points and stuff about right by the point that they were making the Dark Mech and the Mechanicum. Although, like I say, less so for the Mechanicum's sake. But yeah, you're not going to see huge sweeping changes on the Dark Mech side of things, which is fine. That is okay. You're just not getting anything exciting either. The biggest loot. Well, is this a loser? I don't know if this is really a loser. Warmaster Titans, for me, are other ones which have been hit with a nerf bat. However, they are costing 100 points more, which is the nerf. So they're now 850 points. They're getting an extra wound, which is a good thing. That's a buff, right? But that's it. They're basically getting an extra wound, and they're getting an extra 100 points. I always personally thought that I felt like Warmasters were too cheap. And there wasn't enough of a gulf between the Warlord and the Warmaster.
It was almost a no-brainer. If you had the points to spend on the Warlord, you should find the points to spend on the Warmaster instead.
Yeah, normally. If you're scratching your heads at 3,000 points, what are you going to take? 750 points on a Warmaster? Yeah, absolutely. You've still got
monster.
150 points of something else to spend if you want to. Like it was great value for money, especially like pound for pound over every other Titan which came underneath it. So that one's, I think that's where it should be. I'm seeing this a lot with kind of a lot of the changes that they've done. Is even the nerfs, I'm okay with. Like I feel like it makes sense. I understand why they've been nerfed, and it makes sense that they've been nerfed. So far going through this, there's been nothing which I've gone, oh well, that's just absolute bullshit. Like, why would they do that? I'm sure some people are going to feel otherwise.
Yeah, no doubt. Be some very unhappy Alpha Legion players.
Yes. Yeah. Well, but then I don't think they've got that much to be like. Anybody who's an Alpha Legion player surely has played a few games where they've thought, that feels like cheating.
Yeah. Sure, you may have won, but did that actually feel good?
Look, just be objective with yourself, right? You know when things that are good, and I think every Alpha Legion and World Eaters player is very self-aware of the fact that those two legions are very, very good.
We're going to get the Patrick Bateman of Alpha Legion players screaming at us in the comments.
Yeah. But I don't think that the changes that they've done there have been particularly bad either. I should say that the biggest losers, I hadn't planned this in my notes, but really the biggest losers of everything is anybody who wanted World Eaters to change. Because they haven't. Like, they're still like miles ahead of everybody else when it comes to effectiveness with CAF and with their reroll in fights. I think a lot of people were hoping that was going to be addressed to try and tone them down somehow, and because there's plenty of things they could have done to make them still savage without being like literally breaking the gate, breaking the fight phase, and making them quite oppressive.
I still maintain that they should not be brought down, but all the other legions need to be brought up to their level. I know it's a little bit more work for them, but as we've said before, it's just going to make...
you mean not specifically in the fight phase, but you mean everybody should have equally as powerful...
So like, World Eaters can be absolutely bullshit in the fight phase. That's their jam, but then give like every other legion their own area that they excel in, so that each army, if we're going Astartes versus Astartes, which is a good majority of the matchups because that's the most popular army, it's not feeling like a mirror match. Because at the moment, a lot of the legion traits just are almost inconsequential with the kind of the play style of the game to a certain extent,
and especially in the fight phase, right? Like an extra +1 to CAF for charging is, I mean, obviously anything's better than nothing, but it's not that big a margin of like. It's not going to massively swing battles in one way or another. So it's just a lot of the time it's like, oh, I've won that one, you've won that one, I've won that one, you've won that one, backwards and forwards. Anyway, I'm not going to get into CAF because I fucking hate CAF, but it's part of the game, and I have to accept that it's part of the game, and that it is what it is, and I will just try and ignore the fight phase and focus on the rest of the game, which I do enjoy.
Play a shooting army, and then you never have to worry about it.
But anyway, we had a perfect segue for this next section until I then went off on a rant about CAF. But Alpha Legion, as you say, they've had a bit of a hit with the old nerf bat. The big thing here is vehicles can no longer infiltrate.
They can still get outflank. Not outflank.
No, they can't. Sorry, they can't infiltrate or outflank. They can still forward deploy.
Forward deploy, that's it.
Yeah. So I don't think Alpha Legion people have much to be upset about here. It does mean that you can't like have Kratos right in your face turn one. What it does mean though is you could have a ton of Mastodons forward deploying, moving that extra 8 inches turn one, which really counteracts the fact that they're quite slow. So you're getting a double move even on an advanced fight, and with
even with battle tanks, if especially if you nabbed first turn, having a forward deployment is still really strong. You can easily be getting yourself into weapon ranges or into firing lanes that are that you wouldn't otherwise have been able to get. It's just not going to be the surprise, tank company from behind the building or whatever. It's
I mean,
it's just moving up.
Take sabers, for instance. 11-inch move. You deploy them on 10 inches. You forward deploy them 11 inches, 21 inches onto the board. You then advance in your first turn. You've moved 32 inches onto the board. You're probably now within your 12 inches of range with your neutron blaster, right? So it's still very strong. Hopefully, Alpha Legion players can acknowledge that this made sense. Everything else, of course, still gets infiltrate and outflank as well. So it's still a very, very strong force. I'd say that they're probably closer to Raven Guard now than they were, which is not a bad thing. I don't think. I think that it made sense that they were toned down a bit. They have been toned down a bit. Great. I wish that they'd gone through every Legion and just tweaked them all just a little bit. But that's the only one which has significantly changed. The thing I'm most sad about, though, is missile launchers have been...
So happy. I'm so happy.
Yeah. So missile launchers are now more expensive. They've gone up by, is it 20 additional points for 8? Yeah, there's now 90 points for 8 of them, where it used to be 70. And they're just generally 10 points more expensive as a minimum detachment. But the big thing there now is frags hit on a 5+ instead of a 4+. I think this makes sense when you consider that frags have 2 dice and crack have 1. The 1 hits on 4+, the 2 hit on 5+. And you see that with other sort of similar kind of weapon systems elsewhere in the game. So it makes sense that happens. It's obviously a little bit sad, but they were so strong.
They were so good.
The ignore cover,
point for point, the amount of damage they could do, they'd be able to punch up and take out pieces that were far higher in points, like convincingly throughout the game. Yeah.
Am I overly worried? I don't think personally.
They're really good.
I am, especially because I get the Imperial Fist special rule with my missile launchers. So okay, I'm hitting on 5+, but I effectively get accurate if I'm on a first fire, so I can re-roll any that miss. So yes, of course, I'm not going to be hitting with as many dice as I did before, because 5 up is harder to hit than a 4 up. But I'm re-rolling more dice, so I'm going to be dropping some effectiveness, but I'll still be doing a decent amount of damage, I think, with missile launchers. But other legions, I don't think will be quite so fortunate. Maybe Ultramarines with their re-rolling ones. If a thing has already targeted them, perhaps that might be, that means you're effectively re-rolling. Yeah, it's only a re-roll on a 1 though, right? And if you've got a unit of 8, it's maybe 1 or 2 that are going to be re-rolling. Are you going to hit a 5 or a 6? Maybe. Might not make a lot. It's not as good as the fist one, but at least it's a re-roll's a re-roll at the end of the day. So yeah, again, we all knew missile launchers were strong. I'm not surprised that they've been nerfed. I think we'll probably see less of them than we did before in tactical squads as upgrades. Partially now because of other things which have happened, which we'll come to a little bit later on. But yeah, missile launchers, bit of a nerf there. Pioneer companies, they were also hit with the bat of nerfification. Basically anything bulky can't infiltrate now. So if you were previously infiltrating Ogryns or Rapiers, you can't do that anymore because Ogryns have now got the bulky keyword, which means they also take up 2 slots in a vehicle.
Makes sense.
However, they can still forward deploy as part of that. So again, it's not if they lost that as well, it would be quite a harsh.
Be a bit of a sting.
Nerf. It'd be a much bigger nerf, but you can still forward deploy, which means you can still move them on their movement, right? So it's better than nothing. They're just going to be a lot slower than they were before. But I still think Pioneer companies will still see a lot of them. You're still going to be infiltrating Velatari and all that kind of nasty stuff, right? So really, again, another sensible change, right? It's removed something which was potentially oppressive, or it's nerfed something which was potentially oppressive, and made a tweak to the rule set. Yeah. Of course, I've written down more here than I thought I was going to. I'll take a breath.
And breathe.
Yeah.
No, it's very exciting. And I think, especially with the Pioneer company as well, you can still get, like you're saying with the Velatari, you can still get so much damage out of them. Is the Velatari, isn't it, the Power Axe ones, right?
Yeah, with the Rend.
Yeah. Like, all right, I know Ogryns are pretty gnarly, but Yeah, if anything, having Velatori garrisoning and then hopping out and charging something turn 2 is as scary.
Very
and you're not
unpleasant.
spending as many points. Yeah.
Other
What's
big
next,
losers, I think, are going to be drop pods, assault formations.
Mm-hmm.
Drop pods are now more expensive. They're an additional 4 points over what they used to. So they're now more expensive than rhinos, I think, if I recall correctly. Which means the whole formation is going to go up like about 30% in the cost of the transports than you had before. There's also been a few changes to how people have used them before, stating that you must be embarked on those drop pod formations. There's no kind of like putting some of them on the ground. I think I personally never saw people use that, but I assume that the fact that they've clarified that means that some people were. And I think the biggest nerf to the drop pod assault formation is there's now a new iconic formation around drop pods, which we'll kind of talk a little bit more on later on. But I think that the old drop pod assault formation, has it had its day? I think most people would look at the new iconic formation and think although I'm restricted with what I can take, that might be a better way of getting the bang for the buck that you were going to get through the drop pod.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I picked up drop pods for the first time just before this, right? Great purchase. The other thing as well, when I was chatting with this, chatting about this with Rick, one of the things he said to me was, "You've not taken Kratos, have you? You're not painting up any Kratos." And I was like, "I am literally finishing up a unit of 4 Kratos right
Don't
now."
You dare.
Why are you asking me this? Well, they've been nerfed as well. So I
would just quite like to quote the small prep document that Alex has put together here. Reduction in firepower as nipple guns now count as 1, not 2. There we go. Very good. Very good.
The little nipple guns. Yeah. Also known as the hull guns, right?
Yeah.
It specifically said 2, but that's a big reduction in firepower. With your las cannons, if you did a las cannon loadout where you took 2 nipple gun las cannons and sponsored las cannons, you were getting 3 las cannon shots, and some of them were accurate. You don't get that anymore, so that's quite a big drop. I mean, they are cheaper to take now. They're only 140 points for 2, whereas they were, I think, 150. But weirdly enough, you add the upgrades, they're more expensive. So if you take a unit of 2, a detachment of 2, or a detachment of 3, they are cheaper than they were before. But the moment that you go up to a detachment of 5 or 6, they're more expensive than they were before. So if you took a detachment of 6 before, it used to be 350 points for 6. Now it's 390 points for 6, which is quite a big jump. Like I can only assume that that's on purpose to try and push people away from big blobs of Kratos. And it really feels like 3 is probably 3 is cost effective. Anything more than that is it's more. Why would you pay more for something that's worse? Like yeah. But there's lots of other things which mean that the Kratos is possibly had its day. Is what you get out of the Sakarans now is much better for the points, and the Sakarans have kind of really changed the needle on some of these things. So, will we see the same amount of Kratos that we did before? Probably not. I also wonder, especially as soon as those glaives and falchions hit at some point, right?
Yeah.
That heavy support slot soon becomes quite heavily contested as to what you take in it, because we're already got Mastodons in the heavy support slot as well. So it's now Mastodons or Kratos.
Yeah, especially if you're not intending to run any kind of tank company or armored assault. You're really going to be fighting over what's going to be worth putting in there. And I think the Kratos is getting outshined and has the potential to get pretty outclassed in the future. Like you said, if those release.
Which would have been a big concern a few months ago when they were really the only option that Marines had for heavy firepower. We've got the Cerberus now, which is good. We've got the Typhon now, which is good. Like other heavy support options which fill slightly different roles. But I think that the Kratos, unfortunately, is kind of no longer the bride and is now the bridesmaid of the party that you're going to be doing second, maybe.
Kratos commanders might still,
I think Kratos commanders might have
heavier frame to keep him alive.
Yeah, and the 2 wounds, of course, as well. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense for a Kratos. And now that the armored formation, there is an HQ slot in it where it wasn't before. So you now can take a tank commander as a dedicated slot in that, which is a good, sensible change to the armored formation. But yeah, bit sad about that. I do love the model for the Kratos, and I do wonder if I'm going to be taking him as much as I used to.
You should.
It's strange to be talking about this last one as well because it's a brand new unit. So what have we got to kind of be a benchmark on it? Like, what am I talking about? Scorpius, like brand new unit. And I know we said we're not going to dwell too much, but we're going to have to because, like, I've called this one out, right?
People are
Scorpius, new unit. You get 4 Scorpius, 4 Whirlwinds in a box. And I am really struggling to see a time when you would ever take the Scorpius over the Whirlwind. And the only kind of potential scenario I can come up with here is if your opponent plays a lot of Dreadnoughts or a lot of Mechanicum.
Yeah, for
because the Whirlwind is more expensive. Sorry, the Scorpius is more expensive than the Whirlwind. It's 100 versus 90, and it has an 18-inch range compared to a 30-inch range on the Whirlwinds. It has the same dice number, the same to hit. They both have barrage. The Scorpius has -2 AP. That's the big difference.
That's the redeeming factor.
However,
yeah,
it's light AT, which means you're only going to get in that against infantry or walkers or cavalry. And you're -2 AP against infantry. Chances are you're going to be shooting at things which mostly have a 5-up anyway, 5-up or a 6-up armor save against most things, in which case autocannons would be just as fine. And yeah, what was the point I was making?
Well, you're not going to be shooting infantry with it, really, like you said, because it's a waste. Your options are Dreadnoughts to make use of that AP, Phalanx,
sorry, not Phalanx, Thanatars.
Yeah, Terminators. Again, Terminators are going to be in Deep Strike or inside of a Mastodon or something, right?
You think, yeah.
So you're really, unless we're missing something, you're really kind of trying to focus on a specific type of enemy. Like this is like, the rarer units in the game are going to be affected by this that you're probably not going to be coming across that much, and you'll have other tools to deal with anyway.
And let me put this in perspective of the Whirlwind as well. Mm-hmm. The Whirlwind gets ignore cover and rapid fire with a 0 AP, no restriction.
Mm-hmm.
So it can hurt anything at 0 AP. It's ignoring cover. So if something's in a garrison or something is on an objective in some concealed terrain or something, don't care. It's just going to be ignoring all of that cover. And rapid fire. So you're going to be getting more hits anyway. So you're not going to be taking minuses to hit things if they're in cover. Okay, you're not getting the -2 AP, but I think I'd rather have weight of dice, and I'd rather have a 30-inch range to really make use of that barrage ability.
You're going to be shooting sooner. You're going to be hitting more often. you're going to have more hits in general most of the time. You're going to be ignoring, like you say, ignoring cover. So the AP trade is just not worth it, because these additional hits and these more guaranteed hits are going to force saving rolls, which are the bane of units in this game, which is funny to say because they're the bane of units in most war games, but specifically in this game where even, you know, heavy tanks have 2 wounds. You only need to get unlucky twice from a 0 AP weapon from 30 inches away that you probably can't even, you know, trade with. Yeah.
And the biggest benefit, I think, of the whirlwind, it can take down voids. You don't care about AP.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that. Yeah.
Against void shields, right? It can hurt everything in the game with a good amount of dice. If you had like a block of 8 of these, even a block of 4, to be honest, like, you know, that's still, I think there's 2 dice each. Still that's 8 dice hitting on a 4-up, right? 6s explode. That's going to be, you know, a reasonable amount of hits if you've got a big block of 8, for instance. So, yeah, like, I think Scorpius have come out of the trap not great. I'm really scratching my head trying to work out why they're more expensive for what you get and what they... If you play against Mechanicum loads, they'll be great. Because you'll be taking out Thanatars and Domitars and all of those guys left, right, and centre. If you play against anybody else, I'm not sure. Excuse me.
And also, the thing that Marines need is reliable range shooting against targets that aren't infantry. Marines can deal with infantry in light AT really well.
They have tons of stuff with an 18-inch range or less. What they don't have is lots of long-range stuff.
No, and that is the big thing as well, is that 18-inch range is devastating. Really is, because, you know, you're going to be missing out on a turn of shooting just trying to get in position or waiting for the enemy to get close enough.
And they don't have a profile to weather a lot of fire. So it's not like you can have them forward and exposed. Like
they're Rhino chassis, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's a 3-up armor save. 3-up armor save, 4-up armor save. It's a pretty bog standard armor save. What was it? 3-up armor save. Yeah. So yeah. Disappointed with Scorpius. I thought we were going to see a bit something like it. And
it's the cooler model too. Out of the two, I think the Scorpius looks sick. Like the casing on the missiles.
I thought it was going to be a little bit more similar to the Arcus, the Sakaran Arcus. I know it's not the same, but I thought that they would at least be comparable, and I don't think they are. We've done a lot of the doom and gloom.
Yeah, the vibes are low right now.
Well, I think that killed the vibe. I think up until now we were like, that makes sense. Yeah, I like that change. It's a nerf, but it's good. Whereas now we're like,
womp.
It's like new unit, half of the box is crap. This is just rubbish. But we'll do a proper deep dive on these, and we'll bring these all up in the next episodes while everybody's had a chance to kind of digest what the new book is. But there are some big winners, Johnny Eves.
There are some big winners.
Yes. And we're not them.
Quite literally big winners.
We're not the big winners, because the big winners are new players here. Like, if you're a new player, if you've been thinking about getting into Legions Imperialis, then this is the perfect time to do it. It's the most cost-effective time to do it. You're buying one book, which, if you go to most local friendly gaming stores, is going to cost you, I think it's about 34, 36 quid, something like that. One book rather than 3. Or at minimum, obviously if you're Dark Mech or Mech, you only need to buy one book, but the other 2, if you wanted to be Solar or Marines, you really needed to buy the first 2 supplements. So you got one book, one deck of cards that you need to buy, and then your models. That's it.
Either. You can get by without the cards.
To be honest, you can get by without the book, because if you well, if Mr. New Recruit or Mr. Legion Builder gets a wiggle on,
no.
then you can build all of that, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. We do not endorse third-party applications.
No.
But a lot of this information, but it will be available for people to build army lists and things like that for free.
Yeah, buy the rules and then use those apps because they are very handy.
They are very handy.
Community sourced.
But this is still a great compendium of all of that information to have to hand if you want to know more than just beyond your own army list, and especially if you're playing with it, only having the extra book. So if you're a new player, this is a great time to buy in. There'll probably be loads of stock available too, but there's also loads of options now. I think when the game first came out, all of us who kind of started playing early just scrambled to buy everything because we needed the next new unit to add to see how that did.
There weren't many units there as well. So any spice in the game that could change it up a little bit was much sought after.
Yeah, for sure.
Now there is a collection.
There's loads and loads. So that's really good. And I hope we see a nice influx of new players into Legions Imperialis who've been kind of thinking about it and haven't quite yet made the plunge. But more generally, I think my pick of the winners tonight, my personal favourite, what I think is possibly going to be the most impactful change is what we've seen done to Tactical Marines. It's pretty huge, really. They now can take apothecaries as a unit upgrade, which was previously only available on the HQ choices, right? Gives anybody within 4 inches of that stand a 5-up feel no pain, which is an additional saving throw after you've failed wounds, which is, to be honest, how I've always felt like invulnerable saves should work as well, but they don't, or jink, but they don't. So this is one of the few scenarios that you can go, oops, I failed a roll, I will now get my
roll number 2.
Yeah, roll number 2. And 5-up is, that comes up more often than you'd expect, right? I mean, sure, it only applies if you're, light, being shot at by light weapons. But if let's just say, for instance, you are using that tactical marine blob to charge some tanks, what happens more often than not is you get bolted to death by point defense in Overwatch, right?
I was going to say, if a tank is shooting you with weapons that aren't light, probably something's going in your favor. Like, you want those tank shots to be wasted into your infantry for sure.
Sure, but they might get that 6-up with their battle cannon or what have you. But the things that are going to hit are going to be those point defense weapons hitting on a 5+. They're the things which are going to force armor saves. It means that you'll be able to reliably get into combat, and that Overwatch probably isn't going to sting. I feel like apothecaries are like you've got to have a good reason not to take them because they're too good. Like, it's too much of a buff. You could now put your HQ squad with your unit of plasma marines, or with your unit of terminators or missile troops, to give them the 5-up they would normally give, and then every other tactical unit that you've got, you upgrade them with apothecaries, and they've got feel no pain as well. So it's fantastic. And also, I think it's broken the Iron Hands.
Just a bit.
Because Iron Hands get feel no pain saves on light and light AT. So this isn't something that you would have probably noticed if you were actually just reading their upgrades as their Legion ability in isolation. But like, when you realize that how much more accessible a feel no pain save is, that's really good. Like, the only thing that you're not going to be getting that save against is going to be those weapons with no profiles or anti-tank. And anti-tank, you are losing any AP on it, so it's just AP 0.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing.
It's really good. I think we'll see quite a lot. I think a lot more Iron Hands players coming out of the works for that, because that is now a tanky list. Like they're almost like like a complement to Iron Warriors, whereas the Iron Warriors, they sit on an objective and their tactical strength is better because of their Legion ability. With the Iron Hands, you're going to sit them on an objective, and you ain't going to be getting rid of them.
No.
Like fight is probably the main way you're going to get them off an objective, is with gaff rolls. It's not going to be through shooting most weapons at them, especially if they're in cover and you're already taking negatives to hit. They're going to be incredibly hard to shift. I like that a lot. Obviously, missile launchers in tacticals is more expensive now, so you got to ask, is that going to be quite as useful as it was before? Probably. I think we'll see people saving their their missiles for separate missile launcher detachments.
Yeah, I mean, if your HQ has a reason not to be hanging around with the missile detachment separately, then having a 4-man tactical with some missiles and an apothecary. If you want to stick them on a objective in the corner of your side of the board and forget about them, they'll do pretty well on their own.
Sure. But I think we'll see more plasmas taken now than we have done before, because the plasmas now, they have lost 2 inches of their range, but that just means that they're the same range as the rest of the unit, the rest of the bolters. You've got light AT weapons which can hurt tanks now, but they're also then getting the assault special rule as well. So I think that is going to become a nice sort of cheap kind of tank hunter style unit. Like I can see like sticking them in some rhinos with some plasma guns, bombing it down, trying to get behind into the rear arcs of tanks, popping out with a load of plasma guns, and okay, it's light AT, but you're still going to get the negative for the rear arc, right? So I think that'll be really. I think it's going to be interesting to see if plasma guns become useful or more useful than they were, and I think that getting assault is a big thing.
It's really going to help with that, yeah, for sure. Wicked.
Right.
On to the next one.
Where
are we? Because I was going to say the list is ginormous.
Yeah. And I think they're my S tier, I think, update. I really like the changes that they made to Tactical Marines.
I think we should talk about Titans.
We should talk about Titans.
We briefly spoke about them with the Warmaster. For the rest of them, they are all receiving bonuses to their wounds. In some cases, they're receiving bonuses to their voids, and they're cheaper. Some quite considerably more, others fractionally cheaper, which I think is a very, very solid change. So we've got the Warhounds. They're down 30 points, and they get an extra
which is massive, right? That's 10% cheaper than they were before.
Huge. 30 points in this game can get you, as annoying as it is, it can get you a lot of stuff. Compared to other games, which that would be barely nothing. They get the extra wound, which is so good. Not loads of people are on Titans for a pretty good reason up until now.
Just a bit too fragile, aren't they? They're just too squishy.
Just are so squishy for their points.
And expensive.
And expensive, and actually the output of their weapons. I mean, you could probably find most tank rolls that can, kind of match 1-for-1 or do better for cheaper. Yeah. But speaking of, Plasma Blast Gun on the Warhound now gets an extra die.
So that's at 3 dice now, but I'm still not sure that's where you take it. I'm still not sure that that's what you take on the Warhound. As good as that is, I think that particular change has also been duplicated onto what's the super heavy with the Plasma Blast Gun? Stormblade? Storm Sword? Whatever it's called.
Oh, is the Storm Sword the one with the really long barrel, or is it? No.
The Bane Blade with the plasma gun.
That one. Yeah, the big fucking plasma gun.
Also gets 3 dice. So, that I think has kind of done well out of that, because you probably take 2 or 3 of those. To your point, you're probably not going to take more than 1 of those on a Warhound, and then it's 300 points still for a weapon, which is fine. It's okay. But 3 dice is better than it was. Not quite as good as it was, but the extra wound is great. And I think we'll see people running these. Now, I think we're going to see more super heavies, and we're going to see more knights and titans in the game. So things like volcano cannons or laser blasters, I think, is where we're going to be seeing what Titans start packing. Yeah.
Because I think it's going to be smart to start bringing stuff to deal with other titans, which is a very funny arms race that is going to happen probably on the back of this, is that people are going to take titans because they're expecting people to take titans because they're, now, a lot more survivable and a lot cheaper, almost no brainers, especially for stuff like warhounds, just so cheap with, relatively cheap, and having voids on top of that number of wounds is great.
What I want to see is if, because of the points changes now, you can take 3 of them in 3,000 point games as allies.
Mm-hmm.
So before it was too expensive. It took you over that 30%, whereas now it's bang smack, 900 points. That's 30% of the 3,000 points. Is that going to be a good expenditure of your allies? Like, is 3 Warhound Titans gonna do it for you? I'm interested to try.
Yeah.
Would I be taking that, or would I be taking 850 points worth of War Master still?
I will say when I played my spider bots against Nate at the last narrative event, I had 2 Warhounds in that, and they did not feel that great. I felt like, having one's fun because you can do cool stuff with it, and it's a big distraction. But I feel like running 3, unless, we notice a really good, kind of a marked improvement in their survivability from this change, which as good as it is, I don't know whether it's, there's a lot of guns on the board in this game. And if they all turn and face this thing, an extra wound isn't going to do shit, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd be interested to see whether you could get away with running 3. Maybe if you had the right kind of loadout for it, or the right kind of supporting army for it, you may get some use out of it. But I still think, if you can spend that many points, maybe just bring a really big Titan, or just don't spend all of that on Titans.
And we'll get to that in a second. I think there's definitely other options that you could spend less points on and possibly have something which impacts the game more. But yeah, that one going down by 30 points is huge. The Direwolf went down in points as well. I think there's quite a lot of sentiment, which is that the Direwolves and the Warbringers in particular still need something more. The extra wound is obviously good, especially with the amount of engine killer weapons which are out there now. I think that's why they've all received the extra wounds, is kind of like in response to, there's a lot of shadow swords, and there's a lot of other things which are going to be causing lots of pain to big targets when they do bypass. But, you're more likely to take a Direwolf now that it's 350 points and not 385 points. Like, nearly 400 points for a Direwolf felt just pretty gross, really, especially when you consider that the Reaver was 415. 85 for a Direwolf, 415 for a Reaver. You're probably more likely going to do that. But then the Reaver's down as well. The Reaver's now, 400? Yeah, 400 points.
Extra wound as well, again. Yeah. That's pretty fun.
Yeah. Warbringer doesn't change, though. Just gets the extra wound. Still the same points. The Warlord, for me, is the one which is where I think there's no points change there, but the change which that has happened to the Warlord is like, great, now a Warlord feels like it's going to feel more like a Warlord. It doesn't have that huge gulf that it did in the Void Shields now that it's got 2 extra Voids and 1 extra wound. It's just that little bit closer to the War Master. Because I remember we said at the time, this is the same as well for the Psi Titan, because it's obviously a Warlord chassis. But at the time we were saying, you're talking 250 points for the War Master, and what do you get for that? Like double the amount of void shields that the Warlord has. So now they've bumped that up. It does feel a bit more tanky. I think it's like 8 voids it gets now rather than the original 6, which is it's a good amount of voids. You're going to be regenning 4 of those on average every turn.
When that Bane Lord arrives, it is going straight into those word bearer lists.
Yes. Very nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Titans have generally had a good buff here. They're not going to be a list which is super competitive still, and they've still got a lot of the problems that they had before, but they're not just going to fall over, and you're probably not going to go, oh god, that was 300 points wasted on a Warhound. You're probably going to feel like actually, maybe it was a fair trade-off, that or 3 Kratos or something. Like, you might feel a little bit more kind of less aggrieved when you lose it at 300 points and it feels like a massive chunk and it's done nothing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like the changes to the Titans. It's obviously we're a Titan podcast, right? It's always nice to see Titans get a bit of love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And in similar vein as well, Knights.
Yeah.
Again, getting a nice little boost. Again, another faction that just didn't quite feel kind of up to snuff for how expensive they were points wise.
Well, even as allies, they were just a bit like, why would you take them? And then your Dark Mechanicum came onto the field, and it was like, okay, like why the hell would I pay that kind of money when you can see that the Dark Mech, okay, they're not quite as good pound for pound, but they're certainly better point for point.
And you get more of them.
Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, Cerastus originally being at 215 points, insane. Like, I don't know how they expected people to be able to run those at that point for what you could get alternatively, whether it's Dark Mech, whether it's any army in the game, compared to that is crazy.
Well, I'm seriously thinking now, what would you rather take, 1 Kratos at 140 points or a Cerastus at 160?
Exactly. Now it's down to 160, which is insane. Because they're good. They are good. Like they're melee monsters.
Well, the Lancers in particular.
Yeah, I'm specifically talking about the Lancers. They were good, but they were just so expensive for a single model unit. I mean, if you can get that Cerastus in, I'd rather take it than the Kratos. That's for sure. Yeah,
I mean, pretty much all of the Cerastus, all of the Knights have had a buff to their ion shields. Like, I think possibly not I don't think the Armigers, but like pretty much everything else has got 3 up ion, 2 up armor save. The Cerastus Lancer gets a 2 up ion, 2 up armor save. So again, another huge jump. That's what, like 50 points, isn't it? 55 points.
Yeah.
The Cerastus chassis are down by, which is massive. And it's not just them as well. Like the Atropos are also down 55 points. They're at 180. Questoris drop 50 points for your normal Questoris. It's, I mean, you're now getting what, that 4 Lancers for the price of what used to be 3. It's huge.
I think what can happen in game design is that they can ascribe certain points values to certain abilities or certain stat lines. So on paper, or even in a vacuum, like, oh, the Cerastus having this rule, plus ion saves, plus this calf. This calf, we've got to at least charge X many points for it, and then we're adding on top for I, and suddenly you end up with originally a 215 point unit that, although, on paper, though, that's what all those extra upgrades should cost. In reality, you're getting diminishing returns because you're front loading so many points for these bonus abilities onto one model that, as I've said a couple of times in this video already, this is a game that, you know, you get unlucky with a couple of saves against a weapon that's not necessarily that crazy powerful, but just powerful enough to be able to hurt you, you lose the model. It is a very unforgiving game for stuff dying. And having, you know, having a Cerastus at that many points to run up the board, probably get shot to shit and then die, is just not worth it.
Well, you can legitimately take a knight household as allies. You can't really. I suppose the only thing that you could do that with the Titans is you could take a Lupercal mana pool of 3 Warhounds as allies. But knights, you can fit a lot of knights into 900 points now, whereas before you couldn't. And especially now that armigers are their own separate detachment. Plastic armigers. Anyone? Do you think that's where we're going with this?
God, please.
You can't upgrade from 3, but they're reasonably cheap. They're 120 points for 3 of them. And although, like, I'm still not sure I would go for the autocannons over the fusion lance, it's kind of a little bit hard to kind of argue against it now, because their autocannons have gone from 2 dice to 3 dice each, and they've gone from a 5+ hit to a 4+ hit. So they're going to be pumping out a lot of light AT for 120 points. Yeah, I think knights, again, running them on their own, I think probably still not very competitive, but now they feel like a much more balanced, rounded ally option to add something else in there that you weren't getting before. I didn't mention the Acastus have now gone up to 4 wounds as well. So they get a 3+ ion and 4 wounds, which, yeah, it's very, very nice. I like a lot of the things that we're seeing in the Knights. Seeing in the super heavy category in itself, and this leads on pretty much directly to the next point. Like, super heavies in general seem to have been boosted across the board, with the exception of the Kratos. Although technically, it's not a super heavy, is it? It's just a
it's just a really big tank.
Yeah. Because all of the Baneblade variants now have gone up to 3 wounds.
Good.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
they're a super heavy tank.
They're a super heavy tank. It's lame as hell that they had 2 wounds.
Yeah.
Like there's
been a lot of changes to solar vehicles in general. They definitely feel more robust than they used to as well. Like, the Bane blades have gone from big blobs. I think they could take 6 before. You can only take 3 now, but you're now getting 9 wounds out of 3 models. And the other thing about Bane blades, which I hate when I play solar, is they just run away all the time because their morale is so bad. But now you need to lose 6 wounds worth of models before you're taking a morale check. So you have to be 2/3 depleted on that before you even are rolling on that. So I think that's really good as well. There's definitely winners, things that are more winners and more losers within that Baneblade kind of category. Some have come out a bit better, but that general upgrade of 3 wounds across the board, I think, is very positive. And again, I wonder if that comes back to there's now more engine killer stuff in there, and you're less likely to blap things off the board quite as easily as you did before that. But not only did they get 3 wounds, their Dracosans have also gone up to 2 wounds. So that transport vehicle for Solar Ox, it's now 2 wounds, and it's now a large transport as well. So that can carry your rapiers, it can carry your Ogrins. Obviously, it could carry them before, but technically,
it's not going to lose the ability now that the Ogrins are
bulky. Yeah, exactly. Now that they're bulky, you can still take them, right? And for 5 points. They've gained 5 points, but now they've got 2 wounds.
Insane. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah,
brilliant.
It's brilliant. If you want to get something in close combat, they're going to probably get them there pretty reliably. And off the top of my head as well, most of the Malkador variants I think they've all gone to 2+ armor saves from 3+ armor saves. So there's a lot of change, especially in tanks for the Solar Rocks, which is great because I've got a tank company. So this is all awesome.
God.
But they've also addressed the kind of some of the frustrations we had when we were doing these deep dives on the Leman Russ variants. Like, why the hell would you take anything other than Vanquishers? Like, because pound for pound, Vanquishers are generally better than everything else. Well, the answer is they are now more expensive than everything else. Everything else has been brought down in price to some degree. There's still some things which are obviously better than others, but now, there is a reason to take a normal battle cannon, Leman Russ. There's a reason to take the Executioner plasma gun variant, right? It's cheaper. Like, you're going to get a benefit from the fact that it's cheaper, so your army list building might be more optimal. And what are you sacrificing? Maybe a little bit of range. Maybe, it won't be quite as good as it was before against tanks, but because of that, you've saved X amount of points, and now you can buy an entire other detachment as well with the money that you've saved. So yeah, like, I like the fact here is that my bullet point here is crap Leman Russ. Crap Leman Russ, get a boost. Yeah, that's a big one, I think, for Solar Rocks. And while we're still talking about wounds, Marauder bombers as well also go to 2 wounds. So we finally have another flyer other than the Thunderhawk, which gets your 2 wounds. And I honestly think this makes the Marauder one of the better, maybe one of the best flyers in the game, because of the armaments that it can have, because of the value that it is, and because of the fact it's not just going to get blown out of the sky like before it's done its bombing run. Mm-hmm. Hopefully. I think it's, that's. I remember when I played against Matt for the first time, and he took some Marauders, and I shot at them, and he just removed them from the table. And I was like, "Oh,
is that it?
Is that it? Like, just 1 wound, and then they're gone. Like, they're bombers. They're not fighters. Like, you think back to World War II, right? And I know it's not the same, but like the big B-17 flying fortresses, which these are basically supposed to be, right? They would come back with half a wing hanging off and like no rudder left. They'd been shot to shit, but they'd somehow managed to kind of get home. And the Marauders 100% makes sense to move them to 2. They should be able to take more punishment than they did.
Absolutely. For 5 points as well, that is an excellent trade-off.
Yeah. What have we got left, Johnny? I think it's just before we start talking about iconic formations, which I think is what we'll do to tie off the show, one of my favorite little tweaks here is the Palisade drop pod formation. Detachment, I should say. So they used to be available as an upgrade for other drop pods. I think it was with the Dreadnought drop pods. But then the things coming out the Dreadnoughts had invulnerable saves. So your shield bubble was kind of pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a Palisade drop pod is available as a support formation. So you just go and drop down a shield bubble wherever you want it on your thing at the point that you want it in. I think that's a really good little change. It gives a lot of tactical options. Like, I'm going to take that objective, okay, and now I'm going to make it harder for you to shoot me off it. I think that's a really nice little thing. I bought some Dreadnought drop pods specifically so I could make a couple of these up, because I think that they're not that expensive. I think it'll be really nice little option to have, especially with my Imperial Fists in their garrison formation or what have you.
It's just cool. It's just going to be cool to be able to go, I've got some guys on the objective. Boom, here's a shield generator. Have fun. It
kind of feels like a stratagem, right?
Yeah, it feels great. I think it's cool. It's a really cool unit. Not too expensive. And now you can take it separately. Hell yeah. You could probably have quite a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm looking forward to giving those a go. We're going to end on the iconic formations because I think these are a big good addition to this book. In particular, the generic iconic formations. So these are iconic formations that can be taken by any legion out there. It's just gives you the ability to, obviously you are set with what you have to take depending on what's in the formation. You usually get a bit of a price decrease for taking it, which is nice. It makes it very optimal when you're building. But there's also some really nice little abilities in some of them. So you've got a number of them. So there's the Legion Tactical Strike Force, which is obviously centered around rhinos and tactical marines, which gives the marines the line ability, and that I believe is the thing which gives you. Is that the extra CAF? I always forget. Is that the extra CAF if you're in base to base? Is that the one? He says as he once again looks through his book.
Is it not the control score?
Yeah, that was the other thing that I was kind of sorry, yes, you're right. No, I'm thinking of something else. Models with the line ability count their tactical strength as 2 greater than it already is. Add that to the Iron Warriors ability, which already buffs their tactical strength. Yeah. That's going to be really good. But it also allows the HQ to use their Master Tactician ability twice in a round. Probably not something which is going to come up every single round. However, it does allow you to be super flexible and super reactive to the situation around you. So yes, you're set with what you can take, but 2 really nice little buffs that you get there. We spoke about the drop pod formation being a bit now being more expensive. There's now the Spearhead Assault drop pod formation. This is, again, you are set with what you've got, and it is largely tacticals and drop pods and stuff, but they don't scatter. That in itself is a reason to sacrifice your flexibility of what you could take in your drop pods and just take this. Just take the minimum maybe of this. But if you don't, those are going to come down in that spot there, and they're not going to scatter, they're not going to hit things, they're going to be exactly where you need them to be to get right in your opponent's arse or something.
A very good excuse to paint up mine. Run some serrated suns for my word bearers, and that's it. I mean, and you can take plasma in the iconic formation.
I'm just looking up the because I haven't prepared any of this because we were going to deep dive this next time.
I was going to say we might be deep diving a little bit too much, but it is interesting to know.
Where is it? We'll jump into it while we're talking about it.
Because being able to drop units, behind.
So there's a couple of things here, right? So you get 2 detachments of 4 tactical legionaries with 2 plasma guns, 2 missile launchers, and an apothecary. So that's nice. They drop down. You get a 1 Legion Palisade drop pod. So that Palisades drop pod comes in wherever you want it. That's your minimum there with the Legion HQ as well. For the expanded, you then get Contemptor Dreadnoughts and Leviathan Dreadnoughts in Dreadnought drop pods. And another Palisade drop pod. Right? So it's by no means a terrible formation. It's a good mix.
Helldivers theme plays as you start that turn.
Sure, right? But the problem with this, obviously, is that drop pod models are expensive. But then if you've already invested in it because you're running a drop pod assault formation, then just pivot to this, right? Okay, it's going to be. I haven't worked out the exact points on that. If it's if you're saving on the drop pods. But it does seem like if you want to do drop pod, that's the way you do drop pod now. There's a Stonebreaker Siege Force, which includes a new Vindicator models and Whirlwinds and other things, which kind of gives you a bonus. This one I'm not quite so sold on, but if you damage the building, then when you have a fight in the building, they don't get their defensive CAF bonus. So you got.
Yeah.
got to set it up, right? And it might not happen every single game, and it might not be something that you get off more than once, but
losing defensive calf is pretty rough for the defending unit.
It's okay, right? It's okay.
Yeah. It just feels weird to take a detachment revolved around that combo,
Yeah. But it's I
guess for like world eaters, you're going to have guys running up the field wanting to smack stuff, and then just having those in the back line, just peppering the missile support squad in the building before your guys get there.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. No, if you were up against Marines who were garrisoned, right? Perfect for that scenario. But it's not just the Marines who get some. There's other, the Solar Rocks get some as well. This isn't at all exhaustive, but there's one I like is the Ultima Pattern sub cohort, which is basically a las rifle tertio, but it gives you las rifle tertios rapid fire. So again, it's just a nice little buff that they wouldn't already get. And I believe the las rifle tertio's also got ripple fire on this as well. So he says, like, he's just made that up. I'm pretty sure that they got ripple fire, which is they got little ripple fire. So that's another little bit that their fire is going to be good. It's not like it's not going to be killing loads of tanks or titans or anything, but against infantry, like it gives that infantry for solar a little bit of a boost, because before it was a bit but
yeah, you've got that sharp first rank fire vibe.
yeah, first rank fire, second rank fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the iconic formations. They're obviously restrictive, but I think there's some good trade-offs in there. I think the two that I'm going to be looking at, and I hopefully, now that I've bought some extra rhinos for this other thing that I'm about to talk about, I will be able to do at least that tactical strike force, the Legion tactical strike force. The thing which made me, I'll put this as my A tier though, because my S tier was the tactical Marines, right?
The perfect closeout to the episode.
White Scars finally got some love.
Mm-hmm.
They get a new White Scar specific iconic formation, the Chagorian War Band, which is all about the jet bikes, the land speeders, the javelins, and then it can also take additional tactical Marines in rhinos with outriders and some saber tanks. It feels very thematic to me, because basically everything in the standard formation, so all the jet bikes, the land speeders, and the javelins, they all get forward deploy. And jet bikes have had a huge, most vanguards have had a big boost in what they can do. Generally speaking, outriders are now cheaper, which is good, because again, we picked this up at the time. It was like, they're worse, but they're the same price. Like, why would you ever take this? And their plasma guns likewise get assault, like the normal tactical Marines do. But the big thing is jet bikes. Now, 12-inch movement instead of 10. They've gone up by 2 inches on their movement. It's the same base cost, but it gets slightly cheaper when you get bigger. So, you got that forward deploy. You're 10 inches on, then you forward deploy 12 inches. And then, let's be honest, with jet bikes, it's all point defense weapons on a jet bike. March, another 40, what's that, another 24 inches?
Mm-hmm.
And just like absolutely kite the front row, shooting
Move
whatever
near
you
me,
want.
I dare you.
Yeah, or taking whatever objectives you want. And it's not that expensive a formation at all. Like for the jet bikes, what was it, 200-300 points, something like that. Where's it gone? Is it at the back or the front?
What they need to do now is release some Mark III so that we can do the Death Guard versus the White Scar host on Saturine, is it?
No, that's the assault on the Lionsgate spaceport.
So that is...
Are we thinking?
Is that? Yeah. Which book is that?
Is that Warhawk?
No, I don't think it... Oh, maybe.
I think it is. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, okay, yeah.
But yeah, 200. No, I'm looking at the wrong one. Looking at the Chthonian Headhunters. 305 points, and that gets you 18 stands of scimitars, 4 land speeders, and 6 javelins.
That's sick.
So it's pretty damn good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm looking forward to that. I've had my fast attack in a box since I got them. I just never got them out. They were always supposed to be for white scars, and I was just holding out for something like this to make it worth me, like, painting them as white scars and not something else. And I'm glad that I did, because I've now got these guys who can be their own thing.
They have such a strong faction identity when compared to all of the other Space Marine chapters. Like, all of the other Space Marine chapters can get away with what's currently been provided, but White Scars really needed something like this to make them feel like White Scars.
I would have liked them to get something a bit more representative of how they do close combat with their jet bikes, like a boost to their...
Like giving them like Furious Charge or something, just like a incremental...
Yeah, something like that, or like some kind of like hit and run ability or something. Because you see that throughout the books all the time, them basically just strafing through these ranks. That would have been nice, but I will settle for this.
Can you take a Kargan or HQ on Jetbike now?
No, that's the one downside, right? Is that that you're not going to get any Feel No Pain or Inspire or Master Tactician ability from that formation. Yeah, that's the one
in the
downside.
future, maybe.
Yeah, maybe in the future there'll be a new one or something. But I don't even think in the Sky Hunter Phalanx there is a even in the Sky Hunter Phalanx there is no HQ.
It's just
that's the downside, but not
it's not like it's not enough to make you not want to take it by any means.
Sure.
Yeah.
My voice is pretty much gone, Johnny.
Same. Yeah. It
doesn't help that I've been getting over laryngitis for like the last month and a half.
Damn.
It's lingering. But there is so much. All that snogging, they've got the glandular fever. I've been kissing too many girls.
Yeah.
There is so much to go through this, and I'm really excited for people to start getting their hands on these books, start pouring through them, and see what people can come up with. Because it's not just like the points have changed, right? The formations have changed. There's new formations. There's so much new opportunity, I think, in this. I was a little bit frustrated when I was told I had to basically rebuy everything again, right? But I will pay £36 if that is an investment in the game that we cover, right? It's a good book. I'd recommend people picking it up. You certainly won't be sorry, I don't think, picking it up. If you're going to buy any book, this is the one that you buy other than the main rule book, in my opinion.
It's updated rules, right? You need it,
Yeah. And we haven't even...
It is a worthwhile...
There's more in this that we haven't even gone into. Like, it's everything is in there. Support formations are now in there as well. It clarifies the changes to strategic assets with taking Titans and things as allies. The quick reference charts on the back. No filler, all killer.
Hell yeah.
We need to book in a game.
We do. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I need to get these White Scars finished, and then we need to see how they can kind of see what they do.
Oh yeah, I'd be interested to see them in game, and it'd be a good chance for us as well to give the 1.5 edition, if I can call it that, a go and see.
Yeah, I still don't feel like we've even fully kind of had enough games in to put the FAQ to beds, like all of the changes which came in there. I've only had a handful of games since that happened.
But this is followed on very quickly from the FAQ as well.
It's been good.
Which makes it all the more impressive that the FAQ rulings are in the book as well. Yeah,
very happy with that. Now that the child is back at school and I don't have to do any babysitting duties, I don't know if I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but we're expecting again, which is obviously a big kind of milestone for us after the year that we had last year. For anybody who's followed the podcast for any period of time, that means, you know, I get 16 weeks paternity at work.
Oh,
16 weeks.
lovely. That's a lot of miniatures.
The wife is expecting that I'll be helping with the baby.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Just get one of the like carry wrap things that you can have your arms free and just sit at the desk and just
here, yeah, like the next
paint.
Podcast, like just baby in a swaddle.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely not going to be making videos, and I'm definitely not going to be painting stuff or playing game in my new man cave that I'm building at the bottom of the garden, which is going to be super kitted out as a studio. Like, it's none of that will be happening in the 16 weeks that I'm off. No, on a serious note, it's amazing that I'm eligible to get so much time. Anybody who's had a child, especially as a man, we don't often get a lot of time away from work to really kind of spend time with the babies when they're that young. So I'm really excited to be able to do that, especially as it looks like everything's going well and everything. We should have a new arrival in December. So I'm going to put that out there now because, you know, when we inevitably say it's going to be a little bit quiet over Christmas, that might be why. But we shall see. Guys, what I need from you now is, if you haven't already done so, you click the subscribe button. 25 away from 3,000.
Which would be huge.
I want to be turning up, checking this on Sunday morning, and we've passed through that, and we're now kind of like on our way to 3,100. That's ambitious, but like, you know,
it is still absolutely like it still blows my mind, you know, seeing the number of subs we have already. Like,
why the hell would we have that many people?
Come on.
People pay us money on Patreon to hear us talk shit, and like, you know,
like, thank you, but what the fuck are you doing? You've worked hard for that money.
Shush! They haven't realised this.
Sorry,
yet.
No. I'm not going to break the illusion.
This is the call to arms, guys. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Hit that subscribe button, pretty please. Like 3,000, here we come. We can't do it without you. So if you haven't done so already, we don't post videos every 5 days, right? You're not going to get notifications coming out of your, you know, left, right, and centre. It doesn't matter to you. You know, It makes a big difference for us. Hit the subscribe button. Let's get us over 3,000, and you know, let's be pushing towards 4 in 2026.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching, guys. Please leave your comments in the comments channel, and let us know your thoughts on what you're most excited about, what you picked up. Maybe what's
your favorite change? What's your most dreaded change?
Yeah. Do you feel like there is any really upsetting nerfs here, or are you kind of okay with what has changed? Be really interested to hear that.
And if you want to expand on the discussion more as well, join our Discord. We have a sick Discord community, very, very active. What are we at the moment, members-wise? 1,000?
Last time I checked, I think we were about 1,350. So it's not by any means a small community as well.
No.
But it's not
active
so big that it's oppressive, right?
Yeah.
It's, we're very welcoming to new people. It's, if you want any advice, there's loads of people always there willing to jump in and help new players out.
We'll we come in and message every so often as well, and those patrons that don't know, there's a patron chat, and there are a few chats for patrons to talk to us a bit more one-to-one, and ask us questions and request stuff as well. But even if you're not,
sure,
it's an awesome place to hang out. And loads of different games, not just Titanicus and Legions. Basically, whenever someone goes, "Oh, we want a channel for this game that everyone's playing at the moment," all right, why not, right?
And unrelated, we might even be setting up our own little kind of completely unrelated Discord Blood Bowl 3 tournament.
Yeah, we kind of went through a phase, a complete curveball. Yeah, we will end this outro very soon, but we are going to be running relatively soon-ish, in like a month or so, a Blood Bowl free mini league, very laid back. We're all crap, but it's good fun. We'll kind of do like in character postings for the scores and the matchups on the channel. It'll be like a 1 game a week thing. So there's no massive pressure if people are trying to get their games done sooner or whatever. It's a strict one game a week. It's going to be fun. And I promise you that you won't be the worst people in the room, because that will be me and Alex.
Speak for yourself, mate. Speak for yourself. Anyway,
hey, I'm top of our private league at the moment, so
well, that's only because I basically gave up a 0-0 because somebody set the league up wrong.
Yeah, we have restarted our private. We've been trying to get the settings perfect, and we've restarted our private league 3 times now for various annoying circumstances. The Blood Bowl free league tools are better than nothing, but still incredibly shit. But I'm certain, but by the 4th try, which will hopefully be our Discord, more public league, the rules will be perfectly distilled to a great play experience. But anyway,
has this bought you enough time to come up with a witty kind of last thing to say when I give the outro?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you again next time for the full deep dive. And always remember to go big, go loud, and
play Blood Bowl.
What?
Play Blood Bowl. Go big, go loud, play Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl. That's really hard to say. Play Blood Bowl.
We're a Legions Imperialis and AT podcast.
Yeah, but no one's watching at this late in the video.
Good night, guys.
Good night.